The Acolyte, episode 8, the finale of this show. This show has made me feel a lot of things throughout the episodes. All manner of things it's made me feel. But this is the first episode that I actually got a little bit mad. And like other episodes, it is mostly bad, but there are a few little Star Wars-y things that are hidden in here, and a few kind of cool action-y things drowning in a thick pool of stupid. So there's going to be all manner of spoilers in here from this point forward. So during the recap, it showed May with the helmet on and the little guy with the long hair that's always in his eyes. And he said, if you put that on you, it's just you and the Force and what you take with you. And that's kind of a Star Wars line, and that's kind of cool. All right, during the super obnoxious Vader-esque breathing, this guy walks up, and I really think he is... I really think that he is one of the best parts of the show. Him and Soul. They're the two best parts of the show, and a couple of the fights. All right, so after she takes off her Force helmet, she's got like red lightsabers in her eyes. Kind of interesting, foreshadowing. So speaking of Osha seeing the future with that helmet on, she said she saw May with her hand outstretched killing Saul, and she was holding a saber but wasn't using it. So spoiler alert, that's actually her doing that. So that's interesting that she thinks she was seeing May, or maybe in her vision she was seeing May, but then because she goes to try and stop it, then she becomes the subject of her vision. But what I find so inconsistent and not believable is then she says to him, she's like, but I can still stop her. And then they're like, okay, let's go on the ship together. And it's just like, aren't you her captive? Are you officially master and student now? What is going on here? Did I say her captive? She's his captive. But I guess after watching him swim naked, they're pretty much besties now. All right. I feel like this show doesn't stay consistent to itself from one scene to another or from one cut to another. So just like when May originally changed her mind all of a sudden, is like, I don't like doing this, I'm going to go turn myself into the Jedi, which that decision alone was completely baffling and felt out of character. However, I don't know how we can ever feel in character if their characters are so poorly written and poorly portrayed anyway. So maybe just anything goes if it's this bad. But she gets into this escape ship, not escape pod. It has to be an escape ship for some reason. And she says this line. Look at this.
See you now, Jedi.
Oh, wow, she's so tough. So, seriously, she went from being like, I'm turning myself into this. Also, look at the design of this ship. Kind of looks like a ripoff of the escape ship from the Alien and Aliens movie. All right, and all of this spaceship stuff. So I get it. I know. The part of the charm of Star Wars is the low budgetness, of Star Wars 1977 and Empire Strikes Back 1980. For example, Luke in his snowspeeder on his seatbelt straps, you can see little bubble wrap that's basically been cut and stuck onto his seatbelt just to make it look more like sci-fi-ish. And then when the people are in the cockpits, I've always thought it looked real, but her in here, it's you can tell she's bouncing herself around the cockpit. It's not convincing. And I know it's coming from this serial-esque low budget show, but it just looks so stupid and fake here. Also, all of a sudden she's friends with this little cell phone robot, and she's talking to it how everyone always talks to their droids in Star Wars, it's okay, R2, we're gonna make it, or whatever, right? They talk to their droid. That's a Star Wars thing. And so May, who hasn't really done this in the show because this droid has basically been Osha's pet, is now doing it in this part of the show. It's just so inconsistent. All right, I am still completely baffled by the budget of this show, right? Because the budget was, I guess, publicized, right, to be about the same budget as Dune Part 2. So this right here looks kind of neato. So I get it. Some of the budget went to that. Look at this. That looks kind of neato. I don't know, a video game cutscene from 10 years ago. All right, and for absolutely no reason, this little sniffy hedgehog, hamster, crawly guy who sniffs stuff real good, right? Because Jedis can't track with the Force. You know, they can stand in a place where stuff happened and basically hear the past, but they can't track someone, so they need a sniffer guy. So, inexplicably, this guy walks in here during the chase scene and opens up a panel on the side. Oh, here you go. Here she is. Look at her. That's so stupid. All right. So this guy opens a panel and starts ripping stuff, and basically makes this ship crash into the other ship. So this ship then crashes into the other ship, and then who is it? It's May. So May goes crashing down onto the planet, and then he has to land, right? So he basically like ends the chase, but like, what is this guy doing ripping out wires? And like Soul's just like, oh, that old hamster sniffy guy just ripping out wires in the middle of a high-speed chase again. Oh, you. Also, did you see did you see her in the cockpit just like jiggling herself around? Like it just was not convincing at all. There you go. Osha and May have now both been involved in from orbit crashes on planets. All right, and here we are back on Coruscant in like discount Jedi temple or whatever. These Coruscant scenes are so painfully tedious. And it feels like sometimes they're out on a planet and they could figure something out there or have a conversation there, but they're like, nah, let's just fly back to Coruscant and then have the conversation in there. And when we do, we're just gonna stand and talk. Like, it is the most boring way to do things. Like, any storytelling, any writing, anyone tells you, don't just have people just sit and just talk and do nothing. Like, have them doing something. Like, if you remember in the prequels when they're walking through the Jedi Temple, and again, it's just a conversation, but they're walking through the Jedi Temple, and like Yoda's floating on that little disc thing. Like, even though they're just talking, like something interesting is happening. Like, it is so tedious, and the acting back and forth between pretty much every single person in the show, except for the bad guy and Saul, is just so bad. It's starting to feel like the actors, they don't care. They're just like, here's my line, okay, bye. You know, almost $200 million is not enough to film another take or to try harder. All right, I gotta say, this guy's hair is really cool if you look at it up close. Like, look at this. Look at this.
You say, may the force be with you.
Isn't that awesome? I do like these little animatronic creature things. Good job, Neil Scanlon. Look at this.
Yes, you did.
Look at OSHA leading the way.
My sister, and you expected her to uphold it.
Good job, OSHA. You're in charge around here now. You know, you weren't his prisoner just a few minutes ago. What is this dynamic? She's just like bossing him around now, and he's like following behind her. Like, she's like, we're gonna go do this thing, and it's just like, I don't know. I guess he's the kind of master that lets his apprentices have a lot of leeway, but it just feels like such a weird flip-flop. All right, so this is definitely, no, not true. This and the very ending shot are like the shots of this episode. This one in particular. So when he was trying to take off the Sith helmet, I'll just call it that, the kurtosis one or whatever, his eyes went black, just like the Jedi with the curly hair, wig or not wig. His eyes went black when a witch was controlling him. So out of this cave that presumably they've been hanging out in, there's someone else in there, and I don't know what they're going for here, but this looks like Darth Plagueis. Does this look like Darth Plagueis? Am I wrong here? So you got this creepy hand that pops around the corner, and then right there, like, who is that? All right, I don't know who this is, but here's a close-up. Here's a close-up with my background lights off, and now we're gonna turn the brightness up. Gonna put it from Dolby Vision dark to Dolby Vision bright. So let's see what it looks like. So you can see it a little bit more. I mean, is that Darth Plagueis? Okay, so yeah, orange eyes, like no nose to speak of, and like gray skin. So here's Darth Plagueis. I mean, that looks like Darth Plagueis, right? The orange eyes, the no nose, the gray skin, like, I mean, Are there all kinds of other people that look like this in Star Wars? I'm just missing something. Also, this feels like a reshoot, like they snuck it in or something. I don't know. I just don't trust them to have thought it all out, but I don't know. Anyway, what do you think? Boop. All right, a little bit more on this, and then I promise we'll leave it alone. So I'm not sure what Darth Plagueis' hands look like, but you got 2 shorter fingers and 2 super long fingers, and then like a thumb or something. So I don't know. If anyone knows anything about him, let me know. Also, nice try, Star Wars Disney. you're not gonna lure me in or trick me or lure anyone else with that little sneak tease shot right there. But nice try. All right, this show continues the tradition of just unbelievably stupid and inconsistent people's actions. So, was that little hedgehog guy, was he helping the ship? I don't think so. He caused it to go down, right? So now he's leaving. He's on Brendock. He's got to go find people. And he's just like, yeah, I'll just go. Like, oh, hey, you made, like, talking to the little squirrel guy. He's like, hey, you made the ship crash. I'm going to go. See you later. Doing a lunch later? Sure. Just like, so he just, like, goes off to do his thing. Meanwhile, this guy just does what he wants. Like I said, it just doesn't make sense. Like I said, it feels like the show doesn't understand what it's doing from scene to scene. Like, this guy brings your ship down, and you're like, all right, see you tonight. Okay, I didn't notice it before, but her little thing she's talking on, that looks like the communicator in the Death Star in 1977 movie. So there are these little design things that do harken back to good Star Wars, but good Star Wars, they do not this make. I love that even though this building burned down and all of the like power generator stuff exploded, they can use the elevator, and then like these other lights go on when they're walking through a tunnel. Like, what? There's just still power here? I thought all the power stuff exploded. I'm confused, Acolyte. I'm Confucian. Explain. All right, I got to give credits where it's due. These two, the best 2 parts of this whole show, do really great at fighting each other. The fights between these guys actually do feel like good choreographed fights with moxie. And if there's one thing Disney Star Wars, specifically Disney Star Wars TV, lacks, it's moxie. So when I actually see it, I gotta call it out, because this has got some. Little crouching tiger, hidden dragon for you there, right here. straight anime. I mean, it's kind of cool too. It's a little weird and jarring, but that they went full crouching tiger there. But I mean, it looks cool. So in Star Wars tradition, in the climactic action scenes, there's typically a few different conflicts going on at once, and that is very Star Warsy and usually very cool. But in this case, you're interrupting a cool moxie fight for really bad, really dumb looking fight. Okay, again, I do criticize this show, and I do unabashedly hate this show, but there is a Star Wars thing that I've always wanted to see being done, and they show it here, and I think it works. My understanding of making your Kyber crystal bleed or corrupting your Kyber crystal is that you kind of have to focus on it, and you yourself have to be bad and all that. That's the way you get red sabers, right? So she's holding this. It broke really easily. That was stupid. When they tossed the saber, it broke, so you can see the crystal inside. I guess plot-wise, they had to make it so you could see the crystal inside. So that was stupid. But, so she's basically Osha's turning evil here. And they show inside the lightsaber hilt, which they could have done without breaking it. They could have just shown it. But what I really like is that they show the stone bleeding, as they call it, or the Kyber crystal right there. They corrupt the stone, or what is it? Make your Kyber crystal bleed. I can't remember. The point is, that's how you get red lightsabers. And I thought that was pretty awesome that they showed it in this show. But then the show, so you can't dazzle me with some crystal magic, Star Wars Disney. But the show just continues to just go full speed down stupid lane here.
The rest of you set up a 5-click perimeter.
Okay.
They couldn't have gotten far.
Got it. So your leader gives you instructions to set up a perimeter with clicks, by the way. Do they use kilometers in Star Wars? Because that's what click is short for. It's kind of stupid again. So she sends this huge group of Jedi to go set up a perimeter. And then every time we see them, they're in this huge clump. And then they start following the hamster around. And it's like, aren't you guys supposed to be setting up a perimeter? Why are you all together? This is so dumb. Again, it just feels like from scene to scene to scene, the show just doesn't... It's like the show was written by 100 different people, and everyone just wrote their own scene, and then they just stuck them together without reading each other's scenes. Like, that's what this show feels like sometimes. Okay, and then no kidding, this happens. So Osha basically turned bad and made her own red lightsaber, which is kind of cool. May is... Who knows what May is at this point. And he wants an acolyte, right? So he wants to train her. So they're all just standing here forever. And they're like, okay, I'm going to erase her mind, erase all memory of you. And it's like, oh my gosh, we're doing a Frozen. Leslie Headland said she wanted to do a Frozen in Star Wars. And here she is, she's doing Frozen. And it's like, why don't you all just go escape together? Like, you have to leave her behind? And like wipe her memory and then leave her. And then they're like hugging and it's like, I will find you. And it's like, what are you talking about? Just all three of you go escape together. What are you doing? This is so dumb. I mean, what am I missing here? Why can't they all escape together? She has to stay behind and mislead them or something? Like, just get in your ship and go. You're standing around forever talking. What am I missing? So other Jedi Master bad actor Green Lady throws Saul under the bus and paints him as a rogue Jedi, which he kind of was a rogue Jedi. But it once again seems like she's not telling the entire truth. And so you have here this person lying to protect their coworker from something evil they did. I wonder if there's any real life applications for that from the writer and director of this show. I don't know. But it just, so again, correct me if I'm wrong, boop, but it seems like she is still not sharing the whole truth here. But maybe she is. But to me, it seems like she's still being deceptive, which then makes the ending even more stupid and confusing. All right. And then Osha and good actor, interesting part, they're going to hold the phallus object together. What? And it actually is kind of cool music. They're going to evilly look out at the ocean together. It's cool music, I guess, right here. And then the show deigns to go here.
We need to talk.
You serious? Yep, they went there. They're touching the sacred cow here. First of all, this looks like a real life puppet, and that is cool. It looks very accurate, and it's very cool. But this scene made me angry. Let me back up a little bit. So apparently, Jedis having fallen apprentices is like a super common thing. Is that like the biggest problem plaguing Jedi Masters today? It's like, oh man, I hate when my apprentice goes evil. Oh yeah, that happened to me last week. It's okay. She's like, yeah, just my apprentice. I just, when I was getting rid of him, because that's what you do with bad apprentices. Luke's killing Kylo Ren. She's like, I'm just gonna get my lightsaber whip, which she only used in one scene. Are you serious? Anyway, and she like whips her apprentice with it. It's just like, okay, so apparently everyone's apprentices are going bad. It just happens at a super high rate. So good job, Disney Star Wars. But this scene, it made me mad. Now, like fan movie mad, not like real mad, like punch a hole in the drywall and abuse children mad. But like, first of all, these characters, boop, are so poorly written and so not fleshed out. It's like they don't deserve to be in the same story, in the same universe, in the same scene as Yoda. A character that's been so fleshed out that he feels like a real person that you could actually meet. So this scene makes me mad, and I'm still trying to figure out why. But so Yoda, she's going to tell Yoda they encountered a Sith, that her old apprentice is bad. Is she going to lie? Is he going to know that she's lying? Is he going to be part of a lie from other Jedis in the future. Like, what are we doing here, bringing him in here? Why does he need to be in this? And again, it's like it's almost like breaking the fourth wall, because I feel like the original Star Wars and like the three originals and the three prequels, I feel like it created such a believable world. And then you have this amateur Acolyte show, just absolutely amateur across all things, except for Neil Scanlon did Good Creatures. Good job, Neil. But then you bring Yoda into it, and it's just like this clash. It's like oil and water. It just doesn't work. He doesn't belong here. It's like he shouldn't be here. So this show is horrible. I hated it. I guess I watched it so I could talk to you about it. But it was really terrible. I think this may be the worst episode yet. And again, you have these episodes that nothing happens, and then you have episodes like this where it just like rushes through everything. Again, the pacing is terrible in this. And in true Disney Star Wars fashion, this whole season, actually I guess like Ahsoka, right? The Ahsoka show felt like a setup for another season. It didn't feel totally self-contained in itself. And this show, it was just a mess all the way through. And then they're like, tease Darth Plagueis, tease Yoda, tease both these guys on the beach holding the same phallus lightsaber. And it's just like all these teases. It's like, hey, all this waste of time setup we just did, hey, here's some teases, because we actually, now that we've wasted your time on 8 episodes, now we want to start doing cool stuff. We're ready now. We're ready to do cool stuff. And it's like, no, thank you. Please, no, thank you. I don't want any more of this. And it just feels like a trailer for more seasons. And I just don't think that's the way you should do it. I think things should be able to stand on their own. Just don't mess with my Yoda. Anyway, this show is unbelievably bad. And I'm glad that it's over. The show makes Boba Fett show, Obi-Wan show, Mando season 3, and Ahsoka. I liked Ahsoka more than all that stuff, but it makes all of that look like a masterpiece compared to this. This is the worst thing that Disney Star Wars has done. The best thing they've done is probably Lego Star Wars Freemakers. You should watch that. Well, if you made it this far, congratulations. And if you liked it, let me know why. If you hate it, let me know why. If you have fact-checking to do on me, Star Wars fact-checking, I actually appreciate that. I appreciate being corrected. So let me know what you think. And join me if you want to see more reviews. So thank you for watching and watching all of these Acolyte videos. Let's see. Look, I have Yoda ears. Anyway, thanks for watching. See you on the next one. Bye.